MSNBC contributor and former U.S. ambassador to Russia, Mike McFaul, joins me now. Mike, when we booked you this morning, we were going to talk about sort of what Mueller said, and in between, we get the first of what is going to be a series of bipartisan reports from the Senate Intel Committee. Like all of these things, we knew it was extensive, but oh my, it was more extensive. Your initial reaction?
Well, Chuck, I've been at work all day, so I haven't read the report, but I knew it was coming. I testified before that committee. Yes, we knew it was extensive. I think there's now widespread agreement about what the Russians did. The trouble is there's not widespread agreement about what should be done. And remember, Mueller's report was not a 911-like bipartisan commission where it spelled out both what had happened and what should be done. And I find it rather shocking. We're July 2019. We're 2.5 years out, just a few months away from the election, and we still are arguing about the prescriptions, and no legislation has passed yet that enhances the security of American voters come next year.
And I'm going to be as crass as I can politically here, which will make my friends on social media happy. And it's this. The irony here is politically, the easiest thing for President Trump to do would be to champion and sign these electoral security bills.
Yes.
The easiest thing for him to do sitting as president is to acknowledge that this is a threat. What is it? I'm saying it slightly rhetorically here. But what does that tell you that he doesn't even want to do the easy politics of what could be a bipartisan bill signing, make it look like he cares about this? I mean, he truly doesn't care about this.
It's just shocking. I don't know another word to put it. I think somehow, I'm just psychoanalyzing here now, but I think somehow he thinks it might play to his favor. And what I think the president is forgetting is that Russia is not the only actor.
He's asking for
maybe.
Russia, if you're listening.
He said it. Yeah. He said it himself, right? I don't need to put words into his mouth. He said if they got something interested, he'd take a look. And what he's not remembering, two things. One, Putin doesn't care about Trump. Putin wants to weaken us. And he thought it was instrumental to his favor to support Trump to weaken us. And I think Putin has achieved that objective. But number two, even bigger, Putin is not the only one that can do this to us. You think the Iranians, if they break into our systems on Election Day, are going to falsify the vote in support of President Trump? You think the Chinese are? You think the Silicon Valley hackers where I live that really don't like the president, you think if they are playing Putin's playbook, they're going to play it on behalf of Trump? And I wish somebody would sit him down.
You realize that was the final season of Veep. That was the entire premise, is that it's which candidate is going to suck up to the Chinese more. And it was supposed to be a comedy, and it didn't feel like a comedy.
I did not know that fact, Chuck. So thanks for telling me that. But
yeah.
I do worry about it a lot. I worry especially, the disinformation piece, that can be handled. Companies out here are trying to work with it. I support the legislation that would provide more information about that. I don't see it going forward. But the thing I really worry about is something on Election Day, even some fragment, 100, 1,000 voters in Wisconsin that show up, their names aren't on the list.
Yep.
And you and I and everybody focuses on that. And in a close election, that could become scandalous. That could become threatening to our democracy, especially if President Trump is not winning. And then he can say, well, hey, I told you it was going to be falsified. Now it has. And then we're really in a constitutional crisis. So this is serious stuff.
Because I have your national security brain on this show, it was a topic I quickly brought up earlier in the show, and it has to do with the president basically not wanting to punish Turkey for working with the Russians. And I sit here, and it comes in the same week as we have the Mueller report. Why shouldn't we tie those two things together?
The hypothesis is still there. I mean, you heard Mr. Mueller say yesterday that he did not investigate financial ties. We've been speculating about that for a long time as to why, and he said it was not in his purview. I do think it is one of the oddities of America.
Is there another explanation? Let me ask you this, Mike. Is there another plausible explanation for why the president would want to not punish Turkey here while everybody else does in this country? And I'm quick here. I apologize for that. Okay.
Yes, there is, and that is because President Trump has not only embraced Putin, but he's embraced other dictators around the world, and so there's a pattern beyond Russia. But as a plausible hypothesis, I think we still don't know the full details, financial relationships between the Trump organization and Russians.
Mike McFaul, I'm going to leave it there. As always, sir, thank you. Stanford looks like
thanks for having me.
Still looking good behind you. Appreciate it. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.